So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, whenever you have chosen to do this class. Welcome, and come and take your seat, sitting in whatever is comfortable for you today. Maybe Svastika-san, maybe Virasana. For some of you, maybe the legs need to be extended, but bring your palms together into Atmanjali Mudra. And straighten your spine. Bring the pelvic floor in line with the crown of the head, as if you drop a plumb line through the crown of the head, all the way down through the center of the perineum. And in that line, ease the spine upwards from the base of the pose, all the way through the crown of the head. And from that line, relax your shoulders, releasing them slightly back, and shoulders and shoulder blades down the back body. And with the shoulders gently resting, relaxing downwards, ease and balance the neck and the head on top of the shoulders. It's as if the skull becomes light, as if hovering on top of the spine. Gently let the eyes softly melt closed. Soften the eyes from the back of the eyelids, the inner eyes to melt to the back and the base of the skull, the outer eyes to rest towards the temples. Temples softening. Soften the tongue into the floor of the mouth. And soften the lips, allowing them to be full and softly touching, not touching each other, so that the mouth cavity becomes large. And then rest your awareness in the breath, just allowing it to follow its own course, easing in and out of the body at its own pace, following its own rhythm. No need to moderate or adjust the breath in any way. Just allow it to be as it is. And gently, in your own time, with each exhalation, silently, internally chanting Om. Feeling the inner resonation, the vibrations of the Om and the internal body. Relaxing your shoulders, release the back of the head to bring your chin to your chest. Making your own inner intentions for your practice. Maybe for today, no matter what is, to be kind to the inner body. Aware of the breath as it flows in and out, and taking the breath to that place or those places that might be in discomfort. Rest the back of your hands onto your inner knees or your thighs. Raise your head. Open your eyes. So today's practice is going to focus on lower back issues mainly. So it's going to be a fairly gentle class For those of you that might have a back that is currently in spasm, this would be a very relevant class. Please be aware of where the back might be in spasm or painful. For some of you, you're sitting longer than usual, so the back might feel more discomfort. For some of you, the lower back is an understandable issue and it might not be in discomfort at the moment. But just be aware of where the connection comes to the back body, in particular the lower back. So two places that we're going to be very aware of. One is the lumbar spine, this back waist area between the hips and the ribs. That's the lumbar spine. And then the sacral area, the sacrum, this inverted triangle, the connection that comes between the hip joint and the actual sacrum bone is quite often a huge issue. That sacroiliac joint area where we get a lot of sciatica as such. So we're going to be working and focusing mainly on those two areas. Obviously, as you know, in yoga, we're uniting, we're coming together, so it's all one unit. Everything works for those areas today. You're going to need your bricks, a chair, a blanket, your belts and your full foams or a bolster. Beginning with Adho Mukha Virasana. So two ways of doing that I'm going to demonstrate. One is that you take your full foams or your bolster, taking a blanket and making a long roll with the blanket. So rolling it up so that you can create a little dent in the middle of the blanket right up against the abdomen. So the abdomen is receding, moving away from the blanket as the blanket is moving the thighs to the bone to bring your head down, drawing this bolster as such into the body. That is if your heels come well to your buttocks. If this is an issue, and for some of us when the back is in deep spasm and very painful, that getting down can be an issue in itself. You then take your chair, roll your blanket, put your blanket into that lower abdominal space, and you can take your foams and stretching forward in this manner, allowing the head, in this case, just to be passive and quiet. The other way, of course, is that you can put your hands to your bricks. But coming into Adho Mukha Virasana for a moment, either one way or the other, these two parallel lines that I so often refer to of the upper buttocks, allowing those from the lumbar spine, as if right from the upper buttocks, you want to allow the upper buttocks to extend away from the back waist. Upper buttocks long, and as you stay and you start to release and lengthen those two parallel lines of the upper buttocks, can you ease the pubic plate towards the navel, towards the sternum bone? And broaden and spread across your lower back, the lumbar spine, that sacroiliac area. Letting it spread, let it open, as if the blanket is pushing the abdomen into the lower back, and the lower back can spread and lengthen. And breathe, letting the in-breath be and allowing the out-breath to be longer, more focused as you spread, soften and surrender the abdomen back to the spine. This is a wonderful pose for that lower back pain spasm, even if you can only do that for a moment. but coming up. You're welcome to stay longer when your practice is over. One of those poses, as I say, wonderful to do. So from there, you're going to come and lie on your back, tucking the knees towards the chest into Supta Parvanmuktasan. Interlock your fingers and start with your hands around the middle to the lower shin. And draw your hands down, head in neutral, and bring your awareness back to the lumbar spine, allowing that to spread, press in a way into the floor and into the sacral area, drawing the back down. Keep for today coming back to more focus on the exhalation. So as you breathe out, allow the abdomen to soften, to broaden, to spread back. Take your hands to the upper shin bone and draw the legs down. See the difference in the effect on the lower back. One will affect higher, one will affect lower. Which feels better for you? Because it really depends where your back issue is more prevalent. And then release. Supta Parangustasana. So you're going to need your two belts. One, a large loop. I'm going to start with the belt around the right heel and the left upper thigh, so about 3 fingers width below the groin area. You want to press the whole of your right heel deeply into the belt, and second belt to your left heel, and straighten this left leg up. If this left raised leg is not able to be straight for whatever reason, then bend it as little as possible. But you want to strive for a fully extended leg. This leg along the floor must be bent slightly. You can see ever so slightly so that you can apply good pressure to the whole of the heel. And the more pressure you put into this foot along the floor, the more resistance you're going to be able to give the raised leg, which will access your lower back, broaden the lumbar, the sacrum into the floor, and once more focusing on the out breath, broadly spread the abdomen back to the spine so that you can really spread and settle the lower back into the floor. And doing the other leg, so belt around the left heel, right upper thigh. Pressurizing the left heel away from you, right heel away from you. Be aware of how strongly these right front thigh muscles move to the bone. You can see the indentation that the belt's making on the thigh. Thigh bone back to the back thigh and lengthen through to the heel. Abdomen, as you breathe out, broadly spreading back. Feel the whole of the lower back, back waist resting into the floor. Let it go even a little more into the floor as you draw the right heel closer. And release. I'm going to keep to this leg so I can demonstrate. Left heel, the belt into the left heel. Now you want to take this belt right up high into the pit of the right thigh and up and around where you hinge through the right hip. So it's high up onto the outer hip area. Then, once you've connected with your belt on the right heel, step your left foot out to the side, sort of 30 degrees away from the midline, pressing more into that inner left heel. The more you press, the more action you're going to get here to align your sacrum. Then start to draw the straight right leg towards you. Shoulders relaxed, abdomen broadly back as you breathe out, head in neutral. So for this class, as I've been saying, let the inhale be so that you can lengthen, sharpen, extend the exhale, allowing the abdomen to broadly rest to the back body. So there's this whole connection of the center of gravity area. And then other leg. High up around that outer left hip area. Set up your belt on your left heel, raising that straight leg. Step this leg out to the side, 30 degrees. Centering the lumbar, the sacrum, deepening it back into the floor as you broadly spread your abdomen back. So sharp, long exhalation, abdomen back. And it's a softening, a spreading back, like the abdomen's dropping back, like the abdomen has weight resting the lower back down. The more you press into that right extended heel, the more awareness will come into that sacroiliac area. And release. Then removing that bottom belt, part your feet as wide as your hips, taking your legs straight up. Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Urdhva upwards, Prasarita, extended, Pada, the foot. So you want to extend into the foot. No need to come any closer than 90 degrees. So the more you press into your inner front heels, the more you pull back with your hands, the more you're going to create that tension to be able to broadly press the abdomen back. So exhaling, broad abdomen resting to the lumbar. And now let the lumbar deepen into the floor. Might even want to give it a little pressure into the floor as you press more into the heels, especially the inner front heel. Pull more with the hands. Remember, science, more action, more reaction. And from there, release. And once more, taking Supta Parvanmuktasan, wherever works for you. Remember, mid shin, upper shin, and then just gently rocking from side to side, massaging that whole lower back. Release, put your feet on the floor, roll over to your right, come up and be in Tadasana. For today, with the feet slightly apart, so in other words, heels in line with the femur heads going into the hip socket, this allows space and spreading for the lower back. So when the lower back is in spasm or worrying you, keep the feet apart in your practice. Keeping the feet together tends to squeeze and close that area that you want to ease and open. So stand well into the 4 points on the soles of the feet. Bringing your weight as you've explored those 4 points that you're rooting down through, stand a little more into the heels so that you gradually bring yourself a little more into that back plane of the body. Move the front thighs well onto the thigh bone, and then lengthen those 2 parallel lines through the upper buttocks all the way down through your heels as you firmly lift up the thighs, the knees. So as this action of descending the upper buttocks and ascending the thighs meet. They meet in this middle buttock area that can move in. So it's like almost you've got two tennis balls in the buttock bones. Move them deeply into the body and lift your pubic plate through your sternum all the way to the sternal notch, reaching into the tip of the fingers. And now as you breathe, breathe in upwards, all the way from the soles of the feet to the base of the skull. Breathe out broadly, spreading the abdomen back, just like you were doing in the lying down. So abdomen always soft, spreading back, resting into the front of the back body. Bring your arms forward. Right index finger on top of the left. As you interlock your fingers, invert your palms away from you. Badanguliasana. Take your arms up and over your head. Press the palms, the root of the fingers away from you as you root down through your heels. Inhale, lift up. Moving the shoulders into the shoulder socket, open your armpits. Remember that those actions that we did a few classes ago. From there, release the back of your neck and bring your chin to your chest. Breathe in, shoulders into the socket, armpits open. Take the arms as far back as you can and release the back of the neck. Raise your head, release your arms to the side, back to Tadasana. Root down through the heels, lift the thighs, lengthen the upper buttocks, abdomen back, arms forward. Bring your left index finger on top of the right. Invert the palms away from you, pressing into the root of the fingers. Lock your elbows, take your arms up and over your head. Shoulders into the shoulder socket and moving the shoulder socket forward to open, spread and lengthen the armpit, taking the arms as far back as you can. Release the back of the neck, drop the head, but your chest will be lifting to receive your chin. Breathe, front thighs back, pubis up, abdomen back. Raise your head, release your arms. Tadasana. Take your chair. And I have good old Iyengar Yoga chair. You can use a dining chair. It's perfectly adequate. But have a chair. Do ensure, as I so often say to people, in the sitting, in your everyday life, even off your sticky mat, you should be able to form a right angle with your heels, your knees to your hips, so that your hips to the base of your skull will be, all of them will be straight lines. So if you're having to work for hours on a chair at a desk, sit right at the front of your chair, because this will keep the spine engaged, will keep this lower back in neutral. So that's just one thing when you're off the mat to remember. So come and stand just like you did in Tadasana, feet hip width. Have your chair, have your bricks in front of you, and take the arms up and over the head into Urdhva Hastasana, upward facing hands. So these front thighs move to the back thighs as you hinge forward. Please, those of you back in spasm, you put your hands on your thighs, you bend your knees, and if needs be, one hand, other hand, until the legs can straighten. Shoulders away from the ears, that gathering of the dorsal spine into the back. See how it's like building a home. The foundation we build up more and more. So these were the foundation actions a few weeks ago. So that dorsal concave. If the dorsal pops up, hands onto the backrest of the chair. Create a right angle. For those of you that can keep that concave back, hands to the seat of the chair. Shoulders away from the ears. Then take one hand, putting it onto your front thigh,
pushing the thighs back. For those of you, if the back is not in spasm, take both hands. Press the lifted thighs to the back thighs. Ease the pubic plate to the sternal notch. Roll the shoulders back and continue to hinge more and more. For those of you back in spasm, you keep one hand to the chair. For those of you that can go a little lower, the bricks now. For those of you that can go all the way down, cup your fingertips alongside the feet. Release the base of the skull. Front thighs to back thighs. Lengthen the pubis towards the sternal notch. Now breathing out broadly, spread the abdomen and just hinge. Base of the skull easing up off the top of the spine. Place your hands to the seat of the chair. For those of you back in spasm, you put your hands onto your thighs, knees bent. The rest of you, extend your arms forward and up. Urdhva Hastasana and release. From there, Bharadvajasana. So you're going to come and sit in the chair, slide all the way back to the back arm of the chair. If this is your brick, you have a narrow edge, you have a wider edge. Take your brick lengthwise onto the knee joint itself. Feet as close together as possible. We're going to be twisting to the right. So take your left hand and put it on that outer left hip, this webbing of the thumb and the index finger, to root this buttocks down and pull that outer hip back and turn towards the backrest of the chair. So lifting the spine as you inhale, as you exhale, abdomen broadly back, and turn the abdomen more and more. Shoulders roll back, slightly lift your head and look over your right shoulder. Inhale to lift as you root this left buttocks down. Exhale to soften the abdomen and turn. Inhale to lift the back ribs. Exhale to bring this left kidney band into the back and turn. Feel the wonderful broadening, spreading that comes across that lower back area. So all the poses up until now, release. Wonderful to do when the back is an issue. People that have major back issues can do all of the poses that we have done until now. So I'm going to move the chair to the other side so that I don't have my back to you. And facing, pin that outer right hip back and down. Check that this brick remains parallel to the sacral band. So this is not moving. You're moving more from the lower waist area in this pose. So lumbar sacrum remains stable. Lift up and exhale to turn. Shoulders relaxed. Pin that right buttocks down. Exhale and turn. Inhale to lift the spine, to lift your back ribs away from the hip. Exhale to bring that right kidney band into the back. And release, let go. Come back to center. Now, you're going to take your sacrum, the spinal area, and put it onto the bar of the chair, taking your feet wider. Now you're going to take the length of the brick, putting it in between the knees. Once more, the alignment of the brick keeps the alignment of this lower back, the sacroiliac area. With your imaginary hand, pin that hip back and down, and on the exhalation, turn towards the backrest of the chair. This right hand can slide down the leg of the chair so the shoulder remains open. Turn your head, look over your right shoulder. Root down through the soles of the feet. If needs be, check, has this brick gone out of kilter? Draw back that outer left knee towards the left hip. So you keep this alignment. Remember, this is all work for the lower back. Putting it back into sync, into its rightful place. And release, come back to center, slide towards that back bar of the chair, brick lengthwise, brick aligned, sacrum, sacroiliac area aligned. Exhale, turn towards the backrest of the chair. Remember that hand pinning that right buttocks down. Lift the spine, lift the back ribs. As the bony structure of the hips descend, the bony structure of the back ribs ascend. Bring that right kidney band into the back and turn it. Abdomen, as you breathe out, broadly back, turn it. And then release, let go. Slide back deeply into your chair. I'm going to demonstrate sideways. And take your bricks. If the bricks are not accessible, take your hands. So in other words, let me do it this way for you. So if the bricks are too low, you're sliding deeply back. Take your hands to the bricks, or if this is too low, take your hands onto the wall. Press your hands into the wall once more to extend those two broad parallel lines. By now they would have broadened and warmed a bit. Lengthen them, pin them down. So hands either onto the wall to press away, or onto your bricks to press away. Release the back of the neck. And then from there, if possible, take your hands through the leg of the chair, lengthening even more those upper buttocks towards the wall behind you. And now breathe. As you exhale, broadly spread the abdomen back to the spine. Broadly spread the abdomen back to the spine with each out breath. So your inhale might be longer to accommodate for a longer, more focused exhale. If needs be and you can't get lower, same thing. Breathe in a deeper breath, but that long, focused exhalation, broadly spreading back. Inhale, come up. If the back is currently settled, healthy and happy, I'm going to give you 2 sequences to do to establish and strengthen that lower back area, because a lot of it comes from weak abdominal muscles. So we're going to start off by kneeling. This is the first one, and please, those of you, if the back is in spasm, not to be done when the back is in a stressful space. So knees together, feet together, wrists under your shoulders, and from there. So the step 1 is you raise your right arm, stretching it away from you, ensuring that nothing moves here. So if you raise your right arm, the belly shouldn't suddenly collapse and come down. You want to have those parallel lines lengthening away, extending pubis to navel, navel to sternum, and then abdomen broadly back, raise your right arm. So here you can build this up, holding for anything from 30 seconds to a minute. And then raise your left arm. I'm briefly going to touch in on this to you just to show you that these are sequences to do to build up the strength. Keeping the abdomen back, keeping this lower back absolutely stable, raise and stretch your right leg away. If this starts to collapse, you want to feel that abdomen moving back. Release the right leg, extend the left leg away. So every time you breathe out, think of the navel spreading as if like scaffolding to support the lower back. That is stage 1. Stage 2 is you raise the arm and the opposite leg. Abdomen back with each exhalation. So just repeating for you, build this up from each hold 35 seconds to a minute. But don't do less than 35 seconds. It allows things to change. The next one to do, to build up that lower back, please, those of you in spasm, you just, as we go into the next stage here, just keep your back on the floor and you can raise one leg at a time. Ekapada, Supta, Parvanmuktasan. The others, tuck your shoulders underneath you, feet together. Lengthen the upper buttocks, lengthen your pubis to your sternal notch, lift your buttocks up. Roll onto the front heads of your shoulders, squeeze your knees towards each other, abdomen back, raise your right foot. So knees squeeze, abdomen back, breathe, hold. Release the leg, exhale, raise the other leg. So this will all build up lower back issues. Release, come down. We're going to repeat that once more for those of you whose backs are in good nick at the moment. Shoulders roll back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, lengthen the upper buttocks. Draw from the pubis to the sternal notch, abdomen back. Now those tennis balls I mentioned earlier on, can you move them deep into the gluteus? Shoulders underneath you, squeeze your knees, stand into your left foot and stretch your left heel away from you. Breathe out, abdomen back. Release your right leg. Squeeze your knees, breathe out, raise your left leg, press your shoulders, your arms down, and release, come down and rest. Aware of how the lumbar spine feels, the sacroiliac joint feels. Roll over to your right, come up. For today, take your chair for Shavasana. Slide close to your chair so that your legs are resting, your calves resting onto the seat of the chair, the legs almost at 90 degrees. Grip the legs of your chair, so you should be that close. Pull on the chair and tuck your shoulders underneath you. Remember that gathering in the dorsal thoracic. Let that occur as you rest your shoulders broadly down, outer shoulder blades down. Then take your arms out to the side, anywhere with the palms lower than the heart. Rest the shoulders, lengthen the back of the neck, ease the base of the skull up off the top of the spine. Close your eyes. Inner eyes release to the back of the head. Outer eyes rest to the temples. Soften the temples. Soften the tongue to the floor of the mouth, relaxing the very root of the tongue. Lips full and soft. Mouth cavity vast. Bring your breath awareness to the abdomen, allowing the inhale to be. And as you breathe out, have a slightly longer, more extended, focused exhale. Broadly, softly spreading the abdomen to the back body, into the earth. Once you've had 3 or 4 of those focused exhales, let go even the breath. Let go completely. Then allow the inhalation to be a little more focused as you have a deeper, longer inhale. And just sigh the out breath out. One by one, draw up your legs so your feet rest on the front edge of the chair. Extend your right arm over your head and roll on to the right. Roll a little more onto the front body, pressing down with both hands. Come and sit in Sukhasana. Palms back into Atmanjali Mudra. Bow your head to your heart, acknowledging, being grateful to that Guru within. Your own innate wisdom and knowing. Namaste. Hello, Sumo.